Hey there, Advanced Math. I'm going to talk today about calculating price increases. We talked about price decreases and discounts yesterday. And I want to talk about price increases today, like sales tax or getting a raise or something like that. All right, so turn to your next 3 pages in your math notebook, make this your title, and then close it up and listen with me. Remember, this is a pretty, there's a lot to this topic, so make sure I have your full and total concentration. So let me review real quick how we did the price decrease. This is bad grammar. Should just be an S. I taught you 2 strategies yesterday to calculate a price decrease, like a $30 Falcons ticket to Sunday's game is 25% off. Sorry, I typed this in a hurry. Showed 2 ways to calculate the price. So the first way was to calculate the discount and subtract it. So I would have said, okay, well, I'm going to take $30 minus the discount. And the discount is 25% off. So I would calculate 25% of the price of the ticket, 25% of the price of the ticket, which would be 25% of, $30? And calculate what that is. It is 25% of $30 is $7.50. And so I would do 30 minus $7.50, find the discount and subtract it, and it would be $22.50. My other strategy was just to find the remaining amount. So, and the way I did that, I said, well, if it's 25% off, that's the same as paying the other 75% of the price. So I could just calculate 75% of the 30, and that's going to be the amount I pay, which is also going to be $22.50. So this is like 75% times the price of the ticket. So either one works. They both give you the same answer. And they're going to have the same 2 strategies today, but we're going to calculate price increases, which are a little different. So let's start this. So Dr. D spent $44 at Home Depot on supplies for science class this week. 6% sales tax was added to the order. How much did it cost altogether? So just like yesterday, 2 strategies, and they're really the same 2 strategies. The first one's exactly the same, which is just going to be calculate the increase and add it. And this one's going to be a little different. It's really like find the total amount paid, which is a little bit different. I can't type it right. Paid. There we go. So let's start with the first one. This one's going to be a pretty simple deal. So the first only thing to remember, 6%. When I'm going to calculate 6% of 44.60, the main thing to remember, big deal, 6% sales tax, that is 6 out of 100. Let me go back a step. That is 6 out of 100, not 6 out of 10. So when I write this as a decimal, it's going to be 6/100ths, not 6/10ths. This is 60%, and I do not want to calculate 60% sales tax. So a big, easy mistake to make is to convert this to a decimal the wrong way. And so make sure you don't do that. So what I'm really going to do here is I'm going to calculate my cost, and then I'm going to add another 6% of the cost to it. I'm going to $44.60 plus whatever this increase is. and add it to it. So I'm going to do 6% of 4460 is looks like $2.60 round up to 8 cents. So I'm going to have $2.68 of tax, plus I still have to pay the $44.60, don't forget. I'm going to add that to $44.60, and I'm going to pay, looks like $47.28. So that's strategy number one. Find the increase, 6% of the price, and then just add it to instead of subtracting. So this strategy works just the same as the one yesterday, but you get kind of a weird number when you're increasing. So yesterday, if it was like 6% off, that would have been, I'm paying 94% left. And so I would have calculated 94% of the cost. But I'm actually adding it here. So what I'm really doing when I add the price is it's like I'm paying the entire cost, like I did over here. And when I add 6% of it, this is like I'm paying the whole cost once. There's one whole price. And so if I do this is like 100% of the price, plus 6% of the price, is I end up paying a total of 106% of the cost, which is weird. It's more than the cost because I'm adding to it. So when I do this, instead of doing something like 94 times the cost, I'm going to have a number more than one whole. So I'm adding one whole cost plus 6/100ths of a cost. So I'm really going to end up with 1 6/100ths times the price. It's more than, this is, when I multiply the cost by this, it's going to raise my price because I'm multiplying by more than 1. So that was a big complicated explanation, but just to say where that comes from. So what I'm going to end up doing here is multiplying by 106%, which comes out to a 1 6/100ths decimal. Remember, 106%, that is 106 out of 100, which is 1 6/100ths, which is that. That's a roundabout way to get to that decimal. So instead of a lower price than a discount, I'm actually going to pay this. So I can just multiply my cost by 106% because I'm paying more than 1. And that's just a fast way to do it. So I take my 44.60 and I multiply it by 100% plus 6%, which is 1 6/100ths. And I still get 47.28. This one's really easy to do, but kind of hard to understand because we haven't really often had 106%, percents over 100. But if you can understand how it works, you get to do it in one step instead of two, just like yesterday. Let's try one together and see how it goes. All right, I looked up this real salary. So a federal lawyer in Atlanta makes $88,000 in his or her first year working there. After 3 years, a 20% raise is awarded. How much does a federal lawyer in Atlanta make after that raise? So we're going to split this up, and my two strategies are going to be calculate the increase, then add it. And then this one's going to be just multiply by 100% plus the raise. Okay, it's the same two strategies as yesterday. We're just going to end up making the value go up instead of down. So let's start with the one that's easier to make sense of. Calculate the increase, then add it. So what I'm going to do, I'll make the salary be, how about M for money? So I'm going to take the amount of money they make at first, and they're going to add 20% to that raise, 20% of the salary. So the salary plus 20% of the salary is going to be how much money they make. So let's calculate that. So 20% of the salary, that's 20% of $88,000. 20% of $88,000 is 20% of 88,000 is $17,600. Now that's the raise. That's not how much they make after. They obviously wouldn't make less money than they started with after the raise. That's the increase. So I've got to go back and take the original salary and add the increase to it to get the total salary. And they're going to make $105,600. A good salary, holy cow. All right, so that is calculate the increase, which we did here, then add it to get the total. So the next one's going to be, I'm going to just multiply by 100% plus the raise. So they're going to already make their normal 100% salary plus the 20% raise is 120% of their old salary. Which means they're going to make more. Right? Their old salary plus 20%. So if I take 120%, I need to make it into a decimal to multiply it easy. That's 120 out of 100, which is 1 and 20 out of 100, which is 1 and 20 hundredths. So a percent over 100, you get a decimal like this, 1 and 20 hundredths. That's the same as 120%. I did all that math for that. So what I really want to end up doing is saying, okay, well, they're going to make 120% of their salary. So I'm just going to take 1 and 20 hundredths and multiply that by the amount of money they used to make. And multiplying it by 1 and 20 hundredths will be the same as just adding the 20 hundredths to it. You'll notice they're there. It's just one step instead of two. And figure it out. You know I'm going to get the same answer, right? If I do 1 and 20 hundredths times the old salary, and I get, voila, $105,600. All right. Guys, I feel like that's a tough concept. Not so much this one. This one I think is going to be no problem because it's just like yesterday's. You're just adding instead of subtracting. This is a weird concept right here, this over 100% number. When you're taking this 120% and making it into that decimal, feels kind of weird. But if you feel like you got it after this, great. I would definitely suggest watching one of or both of these examples again, so you maybe hopefully get a little more comfortable with this idea of turning a increase into a multiplication problem. So please watch those again if you need to. Once this is down in your notes and you really feel like you'll show up tomorrow ready for the You-Dos, ready to be a great partner on You-Do Together, then you're all set. See you tomorrow.